Well, good morning, everybody. And first of all, just thanks for kind of giving me a day there to travel. I was in parts of the Pacific Northwest up here in Portland, and then flew home yesterday to talk to students at the FFA National Convention here in Indianapolis, which was an absolute blast. And Sarah Rankin, if you're listening, thank you so much for showing me your prize goats and bunnies and your pony. That was fantastic. I just love kind of hearing what these students are up to. It's just one of those great things about my career is that I get to interact a lot with students. But what we talked about yesterday is drought, and this map right here shows you the last 30 days in terms of percent of normal precipitation. Now, we did have better rains that moved through this corridor in through here. In fact, some places right in through here, coming out of Oklahoma into Arkansas, Missouri, and up into Illinois, and eventually into parts of northern Indiana, getting into Michigan, did see several inches of rain. We saw better than 3 to 4 inches of rain in pockets right in through this area. But what's important to note about this map is that on either side of that narrow corridor, we remained quite dry. And I'm really getting very concerned about, and this has been a concern for a while, of course, but what's going on in parts of our hard red winter wheat belt, specifically in Kansas. And that's been an area that has just continued to be missed by each of these systems that rolled through. There will be significant changes to this map coming over the next 10 to 15 days, and a lot of those changes are going to start in the west. But before we take a look at that, just wanted to show you the difference in soil moisture from a week ago to today. So this was back on October 20th. We did that special piece about the watershed of the Mississippi and the issues going on in the lower Mississippi River Basin here with low water levels. But since then, we've seen some improvement. And again, it's largely been with this system that came out right in through this area earlier this week. Just to show you how much rainfall we did get out of that, this is the last 3 days of total accumulated precipitation. Like we talked about, some places in through here picked up better than 3 inches of rainfall out of eastern Oklahoma into parts of Missouri. But it's that sharp dividing line on the back side that I've been quite concerned about going forward. Now, with all of this moisture coming into this area, we wonder how quickly all this gets into the river. And as we talked about, it's going to take a while. So I just pulled up the latest data here from the AHPS, which is the USGS water gauge data. And I wanted to go have a look at, let's go right in here to the Mississippi River at Memphis. And as you can see over there on the right, we did pick up about a foot of water in the depth of the river, but we're still 13 to 14 feet below the low stage. So this is going to take some time to recover. Now, the atmosphere is actually set up to deliver more frequent systems, and what I'm looking at here is mainly the flow coming across the North Pacific, the frequency of troughs entering the western United States, and systems like this one, which came out of British Columbia and this morning sits over parts of like the Colorado Rockies. It's going to dig right into Texas. And that system's going to come down like this and then shoot up into parts of New England. But it's the momentum being carried through this part of the jet stream that's going to set things up to be quite active as we go through the next 10 plus days. So with this first shortwave coming out of the Rockies into Texas, there will be the risk tonight of some strong to severe storms coming into Texas. That's going to move east tomorrow, and then again on Saturday it'll be over parts of the lower Mississippi River Basin. I want to show it to you by going right to the high-res NAM model. We're going to start this off at 9 a.m. Central Time. So as we play this forward, there's the low. You can see some rain, some scattered precip. See it there coming into parts of Kansas and parts of Nebraska, which is where we desperately need it. But this is not going to be nearly enough to undo our drought situation. So by the time we get into tomorrow morning, that low is curling through Texas. Its main frontal boundary out ahead of it goes through Louisiana. By the time we get into Saturday midday, and then by Saturday midday, we're going to watch this system cross the lower Mississippi River Valley. Now after that, take a look at what the pattern's going to do. So first of all, this is the shortwave we just talked about. But watch this one here. By Friday, working our way into Saturday and Sunday, this really digs into the Pacific Northwest. So early next week, we're going to see a deep trough enter the west. We're going to push a large ridge that's going to go here into the central part of the United States. This is going to be able to deliver quite a bit of rainfall and snow, and it's going to get pretty far to the south. And if you get a chance to read today's report, I do kind of a special section on the snowpack in the western United States, specifically California, because this system might deliver some of the first measurable snowfall to like the Sierra Nevada and the Intermountain West. So with this kind of pattern, this highly amplified pattern, we're going to go cold west, warm east, and we're going to open things up from the Gulf to transport some moisture. So we're going to see a very active pattern settling into next week. So let's kind of pull that all together with today's European model run. So we've already seen through Saturday midday, so let's stop it there. We're going to watch this low take off quickly toward the north and east, and the next one's coming into the Pacific Northwest. So there goes that low by Monday, getting out here into Tuesday morning. and it's pulled through New England. It's going to link up with the deeper low that's over the Hudson Bay, and this one's going to be spreading some snow across the northern side of the Canadian prairie. But this is the push next Tuesday, coming with that deeper trough into the west. And as it dives down, you can see we're pushing snow through parts of California, Sierra Nevada, then into Nevada, into the Central Rockies. And what I'll be watching for about a week from now is to see this setup. Now, this is a pretty classic setup. Deep trough coming over the mountains, high pressure sitting over the East Coast. So this returns very strong southerly winds into this area. And that sets everything up for the development of what we call lee cyclogenesis, the building of a low pressure center on the lee side of the Rocky Mountains. And at this point, I mean, this is a single model run, and we're out there more than a week. We do see some system developing here. And what this typically means this time of year is a very fast-moving system, capable of producing strong straight-line wind damage from storms and snow on the backside. What I want you to note here is that the Pacific isn't done yet. We're going to continue to see more coming into this side. So what this does for us is that it says over the next 10 days, this is a map comparing precipitation to normal. And again, what I'm going to focus on is how far back into the plains can we return that moisture into some of these very dry places, and what will the severe storms look like out of that next system, plus the system coming through early here into Texas over to Louisiana. We're drier in New England, we're drier in the northern plains compared to normal, but this does not mean no precipitation. We do have systems coming through. Now on the temperature side of it, just want to show you, this is the month-to-date temperature ranks by climate district. This whole pattern is about to just flip-flop as we finish the month of October. And I want to show it to you by going right to the National Digital Forecast Database high temperature forecast. So here's the trough digging down. This is the one that's coming through today into tomorrow. And then you'll notice that as we get into the weekend, the cooler air compared to normal is south, but we already start to see a warm-up happening north. Now into this weekend, there's Sunday getting into Monday. This is when the pattern change really starts. Remember the deeper trough, it's not a pattern change. We've been talking about this for a while, but the next trough comes into the west coast. So you'll see Monday into Tuesday, a revival here, very warm conditions in the midsection of the country, and it's going to be there through next Wednesday as that trough comes into the west. So we're going to expect this pattern to hang on through much of next week, where there's a broad warm-up in the midsection over toward the East Coast, all because of that deeper trough coming into the west. Now, speaking of big fronts, take a look at this one. This is South America, of course, and the front I'm watching is coming through late this weekend right there, okay? This is Sunday, and that front is going to push through southern Brazil, delivering some rain, some much-needed rain, but it's actually going to clear all the way to the Amazon. Now, I forecast for South America quite a bit. I got to be honest, this is an impressive front pushing that far to the north. And behind it is coming in some pretty cold air. I just want to repeat, I don't have evidence at this point that this is going to be a situation that produces an untimely frost across a broad area of productive ground in Argentina, southern Brazil, and even into central Brazil. At a higher elevation, remember there's some mountains over here, we could get that, but I don't see it at this point. Something I'm going to be watching, analyzing though. But the reality of all of it is that front does push through, but because of how dry it is behind it and ahead of it, we still see that Argentina is going to continue to struggle with drought going forward. And as we talked about, the long-range models really keep that persistent pattern around. So I look forward to seeing all that new data tonight. I'll put it in my forecast, my long-range in-depth forecast tonight, and that'll be the next time I get a chance to talk to you. So hope you all having a good week, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.